What's going on, guys? What's going on, peoples? How you guys doing today? We are joined today by the wonderful and beautiful Salvin. We have Space Cables on our top right. I got the nameplates right, guys. Pog. Can I get some Pog in chat, please? And then Chase on the top left. Can you guys let us know if the volume of our guests today, Mr. Salvin, is not good? I have Chase and Reagan up to what they were last time, so I'm not too sure. But Salvin, what's going on? It's Mr. Space Cables. You wanna introduce Mr. Salvin for us?
Yeah, this is Salvin. Salvin is making some cool stuff out of metal. He's our community metal man right now.
Community metal man.
Yeah, if you've purchased a keycap set, you've probably seen his companion metal artisan to go around with it. So he does some cool stuff over there across the sea in Belgium, and it's cool to get to sit down and talk with him for a little while here.
Very cool.
What's that?
So Chase, how are you doing today?
Yes, sir. I am doing pretty great. It's a nice like mid-70s day here in North Texas. Got to spend a lot of time outside with the dogs, walking around and doing some fun stuff today. So no complaints on my end.
Mid-70s is what in Celsius? I don't even know.
I
Nice.
Couldn't tell you.
It's nice.
Me and Salvin are sitting here like scratching
It's
our head.
like perfect temperature, basically. I don't know how to explain it other than.
It's like what you'd set your thermostat to in your house.
The Waffman says
Pretty
I'm
much.
more interested in Chase's sick jersey collection.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that is true. So I heard he's not really into keyboards, but I mean, you got some other stuff you're into.
I've been to a few things, and keyboards happens to be one of them.
So Chase,
Yes, sir.
you said you had some questions for us. Do we want to quickly start off one? Salvin's really quiet. Let me see if I can pump Salvin up. Actually, Salvin, you're at 200%. You're at max.
I'm at max. What's going on? I
Yeah.
shouldn't be quiet. It's right here, guys. Read my lips.
Subtitles.
Read my lips.
So I know at the right before this, we were talking about how we wanted to kind of talk about, what kind of makes a budget keyboard versus a premium keyboard. I guess is kind of a subject we were talking about. I think we can start off there and kind of see where things go from there, and get chat a little bit more involved today.
So, with that being said, I guess I kind of want to know Salvin's take on maybe, like, how would you, as someone who works with the cases and whatnot directly, how would you classify something as something more budget, or what would you put a premium price tag onto something? Like, would you ever consider yourself making something a bit more budget friendly?
What? Are you talking like what is a budget keyboard in like? the
So that's a
sense
good
of
question. That's
how-
a fair question. Chase, I
Because
think would
I
be the
wouldn't-
man. He's our local budget guy. So, what would you consider budget, Chase?
Oh, wait. Because I wouldn't consider a board premium comparably to the price. Like,
Okay, that's fair.
relatively-
Yeah.
A board that is not like off the scales expensive might be really premium.
That's fair. That's totally fair, because I was gonna say, I feel like there's definitely like that mid tier that we're also skipping out on just by saying those two, because there's a big difference between budget and premium. There's a lot in between that as well. Yeah, because I feel like your typical budget keyboards are your Tofu, or not even that. Like Tofu is probably even high end of a budget keyboard. Your budget keyboards are really like your
Like Ramakara, what's coming up? The novel keys thingies. That what's
yeah,
it,
the NK65.
Yeah, those are good budget keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the NK65, I know we spoke about on our first Twitch Cubecast, which I know Chase was getting pretty pumped up about that. I know I even liked the way it looked, and I know Novel Keys did really well, I think, with that particular board, that new release, the Milkshake Edition one, was it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That did well.
Yeah, they killed it with that. Tell Reagan I said hi. Dennis is hi. But that's actually interesting, though, that you say that, Salvin. Like, you wouldn't consider like a budget not equal premium, which is, I think, a good way of thinking. Like, I don't think you should ever have that kind of. I think you're right. I think you're totally there. You shouldn't have that kind of thinking where budget means it's okay to have flaws. I totally agree. That's a good way of putting that.
The Salvin from the Bliss Artisan keycap. Yeah, boy.
I wouldn't
It
even
is.
say like my clip A from Mechanics. I would say like this is a cheaper budget case but
thank you, dude.
it's a pretty it's a pretty well made case as well. Like the whole, I don't know, it's a premium in a
There's
sense.
a couple of things that define, in my book, in my eyes, a premium case, and a couple of the things are
thank you, dude.
craftsmanship in how it's made.
Mhm.
Because I mean, that's what I do. Craftsmanship in the design, which is huge, is like how do you make a thing
Yeah.
a thing? How do you make it look? How do you make it work? That's all design. All of that is design. And then how you paint, how you kind of paint the picture around it. All those things make a thing premium. That has nothing to do with the price tag. That has nothing to do with how it's hyped. It's all about how is a thing created and
Yeah.
very short bubble around it.
So some sort of legacy to your design too, in a way.
Yeah.
Some history, some more transparency with maybe ideology of what goes into your design.
Research into your work. Did you make something
Cool.
that is actually making sense? Does it?
Mm.
I
all
agree with that. Yeah.
The level of QC, like the quantity you're
Yeah.
making of that, a lot of that's factored into price
Even
as well.
even quantity doesn't make it something less or more premium.
Yeah.
Not premium, but I guess exclusivity can affect price in both directions.
'Cause I think premium should definitely be like separated from price. It isn't the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's-
That's a good way of thinking.
So saying budget compared to premium isn't really a fair, like that's not really a fair way to compare keyboards then.
It's like horsepower and speed; they don't 100%
Yes.
correlate.
This keyboard
Gotcha.
speed.
So can you let us know what keyboard you're using then?
Juby.
Ooh, that's pretty.
I love my Juby. I've been chilling this thing for so hard, but it's so good.
That's
Ah,
very pretty. Well, thank you so much for the
all I can
prime,
say
Alchemic.
about
Thank you, Tyson. Thank you.
You said it's called a
all I can say about
Juby?
It's called a Juby. Yeah.
I've never, as they said, I am the budget guy. Like I don't spend, I have a bunch of lower cost keyboards currently. I am not, so I've never even heard of the Juby.
So the Juby is made by Ion Keyboards,
Okay.
and I think the Juby ran through Treehouse, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Treehouse is an
And-
Australian vendor, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. At least this one ran through Treehouse. And it's comparable to another board they have. I forgot the name. I should have known the name. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry, Poner. I'm really sorry. But this one, the Juby in specific, is PCB mount, no plate,
Ooh.
and it sounds amazing. That's
There
all I
you
can
go.
say. It sounds really, 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 really good.
So what do you have in yours right now? What switches?
Alpacas filmed and looped with Kretox.
So that's a favorite. I know a lot of people were asking me too if when those are coming back in stock. Alpacas seem to be like everyone's favorite switch at the moment.
I
in my
use
opinion.
alpacas. I use TKC
Tangerines?
Tangerine. Pretty good. I want to try Black Inks, but I haven't been able to get my hands on a bag yet. So too bad. I guess
I can get you some.
you can get me. Ooh, hook me up, brother.
Ooh.
Well, I've been trying for like months now to get some.
So what are alpacas most comparable to?
They're basically like any other
Yeah,
JW.
in my
color.
opinion. I think it's just more the colorway people like of the alpacas. Yeah.
It's not even the color. Just that's what you can get at that moment. That's what you get.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
there are other colorways. But they might not be the best switches, as a lot of people say. Like, oh, they're pretty expensive for what they are. Maybe, but they're good. They're pretty good. They're not terrible. They're pretty good.
So Tyson has a question for us saying, how would you guys feel if multiple vendors help buy extras for a set? It would help for the main vendor possibly hit a new price tier along with bringing more extras into the market for the community. I'm not too sure about that, Tyson. I know that, for example, with GMK sets, I don't think there has been a GMK set recently that has not hit MOQ.
Not MOQ really, but like he's saying if a
Price tiers.
set sells like 750, does the conversation with all of the vendors hosting the set need to be like, hey, do you guys want to go in on 250 more extra sets so we can get that like 1,000 set sold pricing, which is
When's the last time that any of us have even seen a discount because of the amount sold?
well, the consumer I guess doesn't see it. It would be more so the vendor. So GMK gives you quotes based on
Yeah.
250 MOQ, 500, 750, etc.
So if the vendors were to go in and say purchase up a stock of say 1,000 sets, then they could sell those sets at that discounted rate typically, or
It'd be hard
theoretically, right?
because a lot of people already pre-ordered, so they already paid.
Yeah,
That
and then you have
means
to refund.
partially refund the person, but that comes with fees and you're basically losing money at that.
It kind of
I think
sounds
it's a very
complicated.
difficult thing to do. Yeah.
It's challenging for the vendor because like if you price something high and then you don't even sell that much, then it's like you're kind of screwed. So you have to price based on, let's say 250 MOQ, and then if you happen to sell something like 500 or 1,000, then there was that extra risk involved initially, I think.
I know Drop used to do that like a long time ago, where they had you pay different amounts for having different, I guess, quantities sold, but they got rid of that even a long time ago.
I feel like it's a hassle.
Yeah. Sounds like a pain in the ass.
So I have another question for Salvin, since he's our guest here. I want to keep asking him the fun questions. What's your favorite keyboard that you've done so far? Like, what's your favorite project that you work on that you can obviously talk about that you've done so far?
Secret.
It's a secret? Well, you can talk about it. You can talk about it.
No, it's a secret. I can't talk about it. You've seen it. You have seen it. You are in.
Ones that you can talk about, though.
Ones that I can't talk about? The Dawn.
Yes.
I like the Dawn. I like how the Dawn looks. I think it's a pretty cool project. I like the number 3. Number 3 looks pretty cool too. But I mean, that's like pretty much because it's Keycult.
Yeah. Hey, Box, how you doing? But no, yeah.
That's my top 3, I'd say.
Okay, that's
Pneuma,
fair.
Dawn and Keycult number 3.
So Jay Cradle says, I might be wrong, but I believe Candy Keys usually does that for the NORDE kit add-ons. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know too much about the European vendors, to be honest. I don't know too much about Candy Keys.
I haven't heard of any vendor discounting after the fact, no.
Yeah. Chase, did you have anything else on the agenda, sir? Any important questions?
Nothing specific. I think we can be
As
I
open
think we
and
should
candid
dive
as we
into
want.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys in chat. Did you guys have any questions from Salvin? Obviously that are, first of all, appropriate. Second of all, that he can talk about. And then I have a question for Salvin after we're done that. About a project that he's slightly, I guess, I don't know how involved you are in the scuff.
Scuff gang.
I don't know how involved you are in that, but or how much you could say or what you can't say, but I'll hydrate. Please don't do that.
I know a thing or two.
You know a thing or two about the scuff.
We just got a question asking when you're getting a second CNC machine.
I wish yesterday, but probably in a few months.
I asked that today. I asked him that like an hour ago.
It is an extremely long process to go through. It's definitely not like I know in America this is a thing, like you walk into a dealership and you run out with a car. That's kind of like a thing. That's not a thing here.
Here's another one. Salvin, when are we getting some patinaed plates?
Never.
Yeah, isn't Quinn your #1 customer for that?
He is when he fixes his tires on his bike and finally gets over here.
What? How many plates can Quinn transport on that bike?
Not too many.
Box, thank you so much for the 44, my guy. I appreciate you, Box.
That acrylic basket that he uses for
He
the
puts in, like 5
keyboard.
plates and then the 6th one he just tips over.
He's gonna wash his back and he's gonna just message us later with
No,
a
he's
sad
sleeping.
face.
I already know he's sleeping right now.
That's what we always think that though, and then he wakes up and he's playing COD.
I got a couple
mean-
of patina plates laying ready. I just need to get to them. I haven't been able to get to them yet.
Another question I saw that I definitely need an answer on is waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Is it because Quinn?
No, they're both good. Waffles are better.
Waffles
I
are
would
definitely
agree.
better.
I would disagree. I like pancakes more.
But American pancakes or European pancakes? There's a big difference.
What's a European? I have obviously roots in it.
Americans are thick, very thick, and the Europeans are very thin.
So I usually have the ones that we make here in the house anyways are thinner pancakes. And I usually put chocolate chips and I douse them in maple syrup.
Naturally.
The big fluffy pancakes. I only have when I'm out.
Maple syrup. I go nuts for that stuff. I'm out. I need new maple syrup actually.
It's so weird to hear about when in every shelf in Canada, it's like every other shelf is basically maple syrup.
It is not a thing here, so it's very hard. It's pretty hard to get. Like, you have
What?
to really look around for the get maple syrup, and then anything that you can get is usually like the fake stuff.
Okay, dude, if I
So
ever
I
need to
really,
ship you something, I'm
really-
putting maple syrup in there.
I want some like good, real, like really
The
nice-
authentic stuff.
Yeah.
That's so crazy to hear, but it actually blows my mind that you guys don't have like regular access to maple syrup.
I mean, you guys don't have fucking waffles in every corner of the street, right?
And that's where Waffle Boy comes from. Or
Exactly.
Corey, we're literally talking about pancakes and waffles. We're not talking code for anything. Except maple syrup. I bet someone's
I
like
have
tuning
a-
in being like, what is this code for? What's the waffle keyboard and what's the pancake keyboard? No, guys, we're literally talking about food.
Still,
Well-
he still needs to make a waffle keyboard at some point, like
So-
actually like a waffle board.
Quinn and I are talking about the next group buy to happen, the next design. We've settled on the Waffle 69. So
69.
Yeah. so maybe we can talk to Salvin about that and make it an aluminum and maybe an acrylic version of that or something.
You know what you need to do to Quinn, because like I've been unsuccessful for at least a year, is he needs to make that stupid ass knife thingy he has. What is it? The keyblade. Like if you freaking
That's
whack it
stupid.
and break, you need
That
to
just
make
needs to
it
be
out of
clipped.
metal.
That just needs to be clipped, dude. That stupid ass knife thingy that he has.
I'm
You
clipping that.
need-
I'm putting it on my
You
story.
need to make it out of metal.
You mean his whole legacy, the whole thing that is Quinn is the Keyblade, and you just called it the dumb knife thing?
The stupid
I'm-
knife thing.
I'm saying that because I've been bitching about it for so long. Like, dude, make it in metal. What are you gonna do with this? Like, slap whoever attacks you? No, you need a metal one.
It's like to-go plastic cutlery, and it's like, bro, why don't you use a real steak knife, like a real Keyblade? That's not a Keyblade.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah, he just comes to Salvin's shop with the keyblade, like the real one. He's like, give me all your stuff right now.
Just robs you with it.
And then just ding, ding, on his bike out of there, you know?
ring, ring, right up. And you can see me like.
The weird thing is I can picture that.
I
And
like
he'll
how
go down to like only one keyboard though, because then like the heavier keyboard in the basket won't work with like
No.
he's got plastic in there right now. It's super
I can
light.
see him going down the road, and the guy doesn't have brakes on his bike, right? So it's gonna be
Yeah,
like,
he has the pedal backwards, right? Like,
like
to do the
pedal, pedal, and it her.
I'm sorry, guys. This is turning into a bully Quinn stream.
no, every single episode we have a tangent where we talk about Clavier for at least 10 to 15 minutes, so it's totally fine.
So I want to play off actually one of Taco's questions here because he asked if anyone's considered putting pudding caps with actual pudding colored scheme. I want to know about your favorite keycap set. So yours,
Mine.
yeah.
I like Nautilus Nightmares.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Nightmares in person yet.
Why do you sound like you have a gun to your head?
Is anyone who's watching?
Because so many people hate it, and I'm sitting here like, but it's good. Nautilus
Yeah,
Nightmares.
move on. Out of frame right now.
Crimson Cadet. Yeah, he's right there. Crimson Cadet, and of course, everybody's favorite, GMK Noir. But we don't have that one yet.
That's not out yet. It's
I
out.
want
It's
it.
out now, by the way, guys. It's Miss Apiary's set.
Yes.
Shop Noir now. That is such a fire colorway.
Consider GMK Noir, please. It's
Consider,
good
consider. Chozo, can you get us a link for that and put it in chat?
Also, make sure you grab the cable from Space Cables.
So Space Cables, Mr. Reagan, what is your top three? Guys in chat, let us know your favorite set too. You guys know the drill.
Top 3 sets, man. I'm trying to think of what group buys I'm in. Man, obviously Laser. I know, like, I post the crap out of Laser, and it's kind of like cliche at this point, but it's just such a nice,
I don't
vibrant
have
color.
laser. I would like to get laser. If somebody's selling
SA or GMK?
laser-
GMK?
GMK. I'm GMK.
I have Laser, and I sold Alex SA Laser already. So if you want,
Someone-
I have an extra GMK Laser. I have all the kits. So. Yes.
So we have some people saying, what do we got? Violet on. Oh yeah, Violet on Cream. I didn't mind Violet on Cream. Apollo, Ashes, Laser, GMK Lux. Lux was kind of neat.
What's your top
Yeah.
3, Alex?
At the moment, I'm gonna go with not Nautilus Nightmares, but Nautilus, because that was my first GMK set, and it has a lot of memory to me. I really like the current one I have now, being Crimson Cadet, and then MT3 Serica. I love MT3 Serica.
But do you love it because of Serica or of MT3?
A mix of both, actually. Serica, I really liked Heavy Industry. I like the whites and the yellows. I love that kind of color scheme. Serica was really cool because it had very unique font to it, the MT3 Serica.
Yeah.
I liked everything about it. But I don't know, MT3 Serica. I love MT3, by the way. If I can get this set, like if I can get Crimson Cadet and MT3 and be this vibrant red, I would toss GMK to the side. Regardless of how it sounded, I like the way that you can actually... I like the way it feels. It feels really nice to type on. Like, genuinely. What about you, Mr. Chase?
Well, you know, I think I cut Reagan off from finishing his second. I think he said Laser, and I don't think I get to hear.
Oh, yeah.
a
What's
2
your
or
other
3.
ones? I think I heard 8008.
No, not 8008. I'm looking at 8008 right now. I mean, that's nice. Don't get me wrong. I like
Yeah.
that set. PBT Lunch, probably my second favorite.
Which one's PBT Lunch?
I'm just kidding. That was a jab
he meant
at Deep.
he meant GMK pooped in the pool.
No, wait, isn't PBT Lunch?
GMK shit stain. No, GMK shit stain. That is your favorite.
Dang,
set.
yeah,
That is
dude.
your
Can we get
favorite
the link to
set.
GMK? I rendered the plunger for that. Okay. All right.
Rendered.
Rendered. I say rendered, but what I mean
just
is I
drew a
drew it
crappy
in Microsoft.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool Kids is really cool. Yeah, I liked that one. We did the cable for that one. Bento has got to be one of my all-time favorite sets. I don't even own it, but Beep sent me like a couple of the keycaps, and I joined the full group buy for sure. Hammerhead, I'm super excited for.
Hammerhead looks cool.
I think I joined light and dark for that one.
I don't remember if I bought it anywhere.
Hammerhead?
Uh-oh.
Don't you know? Don't you ever have that with all these group buys? Is you?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Future
I
Funk.
just
I was like, that
look
was
at it.
Future Funk.
I'm like, did I get that? Did I
I'm like, did I
actually
just look at it for
did I
like an
get it or
hour?
not?
Did I buy it?
Yeah, I don't know, chat. Have you ever done that where you're like, I really want this set and I'm going to buy it, and then you forget about it, and then you come back and you're like, fuck, I forgot to buy this set. I did that
The
with
best
Future Funk.
Best feeling ever though is when like months on the line, all of a sudden you get like email tracking. Like what is?
Like, what the hell is this? Dude, the worst.
What
I
did
don't know.
buy?
I don't know if you guys have ever
Hey,
experienced this, but like, you know, when you order something, usually it's from overseas, and it just tells you the factory plant name, and you're like, what the hell is this? And it's just like from Shenzhen, and you're like, what did I order? And it's like, it's literally a mystery because you didn't get an email notification from the vendor. It's literally a mystery till it gets to your door, and you're like, what is this?
So I get like these Cerakote keyboards in all the time, right? So people send me boards to Cerakote. So like every few days I get like a box. Oh, there's a keyboard in it. It's gonna be for Cerakote. And then when you actually get a keyboard that's like for me, like
It's a good feeling. Yeah.
New Year's present, like New World.
So I'm gonna read some comments quick. We had GMK Red Samurai, GMK Taro, and GMK Laser Round 2 Dracula, also sick. We had 8008 Mizu and Skeletor. Ooh, that's Skeletor. Interesting choice there. GMK Bento, GMK Shoko, GMK Sumi, GMK Oblivion. A lot of variety. MT3 Susuwatari. I haven't even mounted my Susuwatari set yet.
Oh, look at Dutch Master. Damn,
I really.
you're such a simp, buddy.
Aether. Thank you. You know what? No, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna just say thank you to Dutch. Thank you for looking out for the homie. Thank you, Dutch.
I'm kidding, buddy.
Oh, you know what? Voyage is like number 4 on my list. Voyage is like literally like it's up
Voyager.
there. I feel. Is it Voyager or Voyage?
I think it's Voyager. Wait.
Now I'm confused.
Give me a sec.
Oh, the flag. He said, wait, it's in the other pile.
Wait, guys. Hey guys, I don't have that problem. Do you?
Voyage.
It's Voyage, okay? I don't have that problem, boys. Do you?
I need to sort these things. It's so bad.
I literally joined so many group buys, I forget sometimes until I get notifications. I agree. Everyone's freaking out about the stack, by the way. Valbloom, I'm missing the A for that still.
Flex.
It wasn't a flex. It was in the way. It needed to move. I needed to get one shirt.
I really
Okay,
like
there before
GMK
stream.
8008. I still like it. I know there was some drama around that set when it came out and whatnot, but I really like that set.
What set doesn't have drama around it?
There it
That's
is.
fair.
What anything in the keyboard community does not have drama around it?
That's totally fair.
You know it's a weak set if there's no drama. Come on.
Right? Like, I hit MOQ and no one said anything. I don't want it.
It's a poop set.
That's cool though. I like there's so many cool opinions and different, I guess not even opinions, but different views of what set they like, what set they appreciate. That's always cool to see. So much variety.
Yeah.
Surprised nobody said Bushido because I think that was one of the cooler sets.
But I don't think Bushido's out yet.
Well, it hasn't shipped, but it
Hasn't
was
shipped,
one of the
right?
cooler. It was one of the cooler
Oh.
sets I've seen.
Well, I
Up
named
for
like
second.
everything that hasn't shipped yet.
Really? I only named ones that I have,
Shitstain.
like physically.
Uh, yeah.
Well, I don't have 3 sets, so I couldn't name 3 sets.
It's time to get your game on, man. Get those rookie numbers up.
Okay, I
Come-
ordered
come
3
up.
sets. I'm waiting for them to come in. That's the problem.
No, that's not how it works in the keyboard community. You start ordering every couple of weeks, and then you keep it up, and then the stuff you keep buying, and then the stuff starts coming in.
Then
So
all of
it's
a sudden,
it starts moving forward, you know?
is that how you ended up with that stack behind you?
Yeah.
It's just vendors making trades.
Honestly, that is my Oblotsky subscription most of the time. I just go to Oblotsky and I'm like, hey, whatever set you're running, invoice it, send it my way, just send it, I'll see what it is.
Yep.
So It's Me Ruby says, thoughts on GMK Striker. Do you think it's overhyped because of Tifu or Tifu? I like GMK Striker. I always have. I like the solid color sets like this. Oh, he's reaching for the pile again. Oh wow, look at that. Is that factory sealed still? You just made like 4 people in chat just be like,
I have
okay.
used it.
Okay.
I put it on the Juby and it looked fire.
I like
was
the
like,
set.
it's still pristine. I'm not gonna use it. No, it's too good.
I think it's definitely a cool set, but it probably was a little inflated from the whole
Just like
Tifu.
just like the creams.
It is because I picked it up before Tifu, and I think I picked it up aftermarket for like $130,
Wow.
Wow.
and that was
That's just-
before the Tifu thing started.
That's
The
just
creams.
cheap for a.
Yeah, that was really. But then it was nobody wanted a set then. Like nobody wanted Striker.
Which is weird. Because it's genuinely like I actually always liked the set. Like I like these solid color sets like this, and I thought Striker was really striking, for lack of a better word. I liked
There
it.
was somebody said Night Runner is OP, and then somebody said Vaporwave earlier. Those are 2 sets that I'm a big fan of.
That
Isn't
is
it
cool
always
too.
like? Isn't it always like you see sets after you run them? Like, damn, I wish I was here when that ran.
I was like that with Metro. I was like debating picking up Metro, and then I just decided against it because I'm like, not really my thing. And then I saw it afterwards. I'm like, oh,
It's good.
that's a nice set.
Metro's good.
So, chat. Speaking of regret, what's the set you most regret not picking up? I'm curious. GMK Masterpiece. Which one was Masterpiece again? That was like another all blue one, right? I can't remember. Olivia Milkshake Botanical. Botanical's a nice one too. I wish I picked up Botanical. Olivia. Valve Sun Cream. Dracula. GMK Iris. Which one was GMK Iris?
GMK Dos Cervezas. Yes, please. It's like yellow and then a white color on top. Yes. Done. Set designed.
Let us know if you guys have any questions for Salvin as well, guys. GMK Hero. That's a lot of
I really-
different
Yeah,
sets.
Salvin, someone asked a question earlier about like, have you ever designed your own thing? And I feel like maybe you're so busy with like accepting orders and kind of wholesaling with people's designs. Like, have you ever produced something?
Well, the keycaps. The keycaps are usually my.
No, totally. Yeah, you keycaps are your thing.
Yeah, sure. But boards? No, not yet. No.
Okay.
Ooh, he put the
And
word yet
like
in
I'm
there.
in the same boat, right? Like I am on like I use that to create like acrylic products, and then it's like I myself am trying to get more and more into like the designing and the modeling of that,
never
just because. What's that?
It's never gonna happen. Believe me. Trust me.
No.
You're like doing that thing, and like work keeps coming in. They're like, I'm gonna make my own thing, and like
Yeah.
pile of work.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I feel
There's
you.
a path of least resistance for sure. But like deep down, you want to be like, damn, I'd like wish I had time and the
Yes.
capabilities of designing it, because like I would love to get more into like design of stuff.
It is.
It's got to be hard when you have this like really nice machine in front of you and you can't just be like, oh, let's run a test, like boom. It's like, well,
It's
my
hard.
keyboard didn't work, let me make another one. You don't have time, you know. It's like all
I
that
got like
client work.
all the Damascus sitting here now to make the Damascus keycaps. I finally have the Damascus, and I haven't been able to make the keycaps yet, just because the machine's running all the time. The machine's running on customer stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things too, where as this hobby keeps getting bigger and bigger too, I feel like it's gonna be tougher and tougher to find that spare bit of time for a lot of personal things, especially if you're a vendor or manufacturer, right? It's gonna just be tough.
I mean,
Wait,
it's
SA,
all the time.
was there an SA Islander?
No, it was the PBT, right?
Yeah, it was
It was
run by
Infinity
Infinity.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I see a question that's directed to me, but I think I want to hear what you guys think.
Go ahead.
What is you guys' favorite part of this hobby? Of like the process of building a keyboard for you, Alex, or for you, Mr. Space Cables, making cables or lasering boards. What is for you guys your favorite part of the process?
So I'm actually curious because now this is going to be from very different perspectives. Chase being someone who's in the
Yes.
hobby for just as about the same time as we are, who's more into like the budget side of things and lightly collecting some stuff, while Reagan is a manufacturer of cables and a vendor. I'm actually curious, Chase, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So for me, I'm not a super hands-on guy. Like, so when I look at like when I say hands-on guy, like I don't really enjoy or spend my time tinkering with things as much as I guess a lot of people probably in this hobby do. Like my brother's really into the keyboard scene as well, and he'll spend a couple hours just playing with switches just to see if he can get a switch that feels cool by taking off the top housing on the
switches?
one. Yeah, like he'll spend
Cool.
hours doing that. But then me, like I'm very much like a big picture person. Like I want the finished keyboard in front of me, like looking
gonna work.
perfect with great keycaps on it. Like so, my favorite part is just having it done at the end. Like that's what I look forward to. I'm just there for that last bit of that full keyboard already completed and everything.
Do you build your own boards, or are you just like, Alex, do this, please?
No, I have. So the only boards I've built myself so far have been hot swap. So I haven't even soldered anything yet.
Really? Okay, that part I didn't know yet. I thought you had soldered at least one so far.
No, I have not yet. I have steered clear of that process. I know how to solder. I've soldered before, but I just haven't soldered.
Come
before.
to Austin, and we will make a board together.
Oh no.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I
Then.
think, I think if you stand up, that's like a reason not to. That's a bad idea. He's like hiding the shirt.
I'm like,
Keep it weird.
Austin weird.
So, Mr. Spruce Cables, what is your favorite part? And chat, what's yours? Let us know in the chat too, so we can read
Of
a
like
few.
building and everything.
Just anything, like any process that you do, like any process of your job. Because you're full time now, right? So, what's your favorite
Yeah.
process? Whether it be
I don't know,
customer
maybe
service.
Dalvin can
etc.
relate to this too. Is like kind of when I'm tweaking a design or when I'm doing something, is like doing just a ton of iterations and then finally getting something right. Like if I start with a design file and like I put it into the laser and I'm like, oh no, it's like a tenth of a millimeter off. So I like change the file, I put it in, I redial it in, and like we start it again and I'm like, oh, just a little bit more. And just like messing with tolerances on things. I'm a super perfectionist. Like I live under my microscope. Like I look at everything, like I throw away so many products, don't make it to the light of day. Because
Buddy, can I buy you dinner?
I'm telling you, dude, I love it. Like I don't know. I'm like an OCD max perfectionist where I'm like looking at stuff under a microscope to describe it, and like it brings me joy to like hold up a tangible product where I'm like, this is, for example, this is something like super easy, but like anything where you're like, yes, the final result. Like I feel like more and more I'm becoming like a creator, like a
Yeah.
physical item creator. Like I guess I have been, but it's like more so like the net is getting bigger of that which we're creating as a brand. You know, like
Yeah.
it's been cables in the past, but we're branching for sure. But I don't know. That's really fun to me.
I mean, you just got dinner from Salvin. That's a fucking good answer.
That's one way.
So before we jump into Salvin's and I's, I guess, let me just read some stuff in chat. One of them being, I guess for everyone, just really quick, do you prefer hot swap or solder? I prefer solder myself. Some people like doing stabs. Some people like tweaking. We have some people who like doing lubing. Building custom keyboards is cool, but desoldering and modding stock stuff is also nice. Thing I hate about this hobby is waiting for products to drop. Yeah, I mean, there's that too. Switch lubing is nice. We have that too. I agree with Chase. I like when the build is done, said by Dizzy Dave. So there's definitely some interesting stuff here. Enjoy soldering, Dutch says.
It's mere Ruby. Like waiting for stuff to drop is definitely annoying, but the best way to to deal with that is engage in the community. Go in Discord,
I agree.
have fun, and talk about the things.
Buy
you like
more
and-
shit, like he was saying in the meantime.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't listen to Space Cables.
When the first six, I'm not talking about anyone. Like, then once that 6th month finally hits of your first group buy shipping, and it's like everything will be coming in on a subscription, just like how Salvin has it set up.
God.
You know, you're like, oh, I forgot this was coming in. Oh, this is
Space
idea,
Cable's
that's a
slowly
bad
undoing
idea.
everything I've worked. I'm like, guys, pace yourself. He's like, just buy more shit.
that was like a half joke.
Only like Alex always says, only spend what you're willing to part with. So you can lose.
Oh,
Don't spend a penny more.
absolutely.
He's like
Absolutely.
winking. He's like, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But engage in the community. Have fun in the community. This is what everything is about: is having fun.
I agree.
So do that. Have fun.
I guess my favorite part about the process for me, about like building and I guess some social media stuff, my favorite part right now, I think it's changed, is I really enjoy learning, and I've been learning a lot more, especially in the last like 2 to 3 months, where I've been more into building a variety opposed to just building the same old stuff that I'm used to, is what goes inside of a keyboard. What certain mounting systems do what, how that affects a keyboard. Because I think before, it's, for me, truthfully, it was just like, someone said, oh, gasket mount, and it's like, that's the buzzword for me, and I'm like, yeah, gasket mount's like, I fucking know what you're talking about, 110%. That's the best one, because everyone's talking about it. But now it's like, well, in some keyboards, for example, like the Plume, we'll use that one there for an example for me, that's a top-mounted keyboard, and that felt great. But then you have keyboards like the KeyCult, which I'm just addicted to using right now. You guys can kind of see it in the background of my stream over here. This is a gasket keyboard, but this is by far like one of my favorite feeling keyboards right now. So there's a bunch of different things that go into a bunch of different keyboards that I'm just like learning so much about, and it's okay to have different preferences. It's okay to have that.
I think someone needs to go smack Max Life in chat.
What would happen?
A little love tap or something like that.
What was he talking about?
Flipping keyboards and balling
Oh.
group eyes.
Oh no, we don't want to promote that. But
someone go give this guy a little tap to wake him up.
yeah, we don't want to flip anything, guys. If you're gonna buy for yourself. If you need to sell it
Yeah.
later on, buy. You know, you can sell it later.
Yeah,
on,
this isn't a Yeezy drop, man.
Yeah, this ain't no Yeezys here.
This guy.
2020
Yes.
year of the flippers and bots. The bots, I don't know. I feel like the bots are getting better. Like, I feel like vendors are doing their best. It's tough, man. I don't even know how to deal with that, to be honest with you guys. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Dutch will show off some keyboards later. I always tell people that come to me for advice regarding keys to be patient. I agree with that. I would say this is one of the best advice regarding key community and beyond. Usually, these things come with time, success, and relationships. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Katana. By the way, if you guys haven't, Katana's he was just hosting Salvin before for a mini interview. We double booked Salvin. I don't know how that happened, but it just did. Poor Salvin's sitting here.
Might as well just.
We double booked them. And Dizzy, I have shaky hands as well, like extremely. If you've seen some of my streams before, you guys know that I literally struggle with some more intricate stuff myself. It's nothing to do about hydration. It's nothing to do about health. It's just I have
Hope
shaky
that link
hands.
will work. Yeah.
So
there we
I
go.
totally feel you, Dizzy. I totally feel you there. Ruby has a question for me. Question for Alex. What do you enjoy more about designing desk mats or keycaps? So I only had one go at keycaps, and I quite enjoyed it. I do enjoy art more, so I like doing these larger pieces. So I don't know. I like doing desk mats, to be honest. I think they're really cool. Again, haven't really done a whole lot. I've done 3. So of the year and a half ish that I've been in the hobby, I guess. A little over a year.
I think your death mats are cool too, man.
Thanks, Spooce Cables. So, Salvin, that comes down to you now. What is your favorite part about the process, I guess, of what you do?
I think Mr. Space Cables already kind of hit the nail on the head. It's the process of making something like that last 10 to 5% better, like that last little bit. The part that like distinguishes you from other makers.
Yes.
That is the best feeling ever. And I think people like Zamwin and Wilbur can attest to that, because I've been working with them recently, and you're like, oh, just make me one, and then you're like end up making 10 because the last one had to be fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Staying at the shop till 4 a.m.
What do you mean for him? You mean 5, 6? Yep.
Yeah, you roasted me because what? I posted at 2 a.m. and you were like, rookie number. I get those numbers, man.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I think recently I'm like going to bed and my wife is like, so I'm getting up to go to work. What are you doing?
He's like keycaps and like machine parts in his hair. He's like, huh?
A single keycap. Big hair.
What's going on here?
A keyboard case around my foot, just like dragging it. Like,
Have you ever tried to like make random items? Like, I don't know, like how does it work with machining? Have you ever just like, fuck, I want to make a comb, and so you like Google the files for a comb or something and just make, like, I don't know, just whatever random item. Like, have you just exclusively, because I know you had your Kickstarter, you're talking about this with Katana, how you started off with your all metal keycaps, but it's like, have you ever tried anything else?
Nope.
Straight for the keyboard community.
Keyboards, everything. It made sense. So, I mean, that's kind of something else, but it's also still in the keyboard community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm talking like a banana just out of metal or something, or just like a random, like an apple, like just something that's like.
What I do with my banana is private, buddy.
Fair enough.
It's private.
I think once I made a part for somebody's airsoft gun. That's like the first away from keyboards that I've ever gone.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So I want to talk about some other hobbies that you guys are into. Chase, I know you were saying you have a few hobbies.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of things that end up turning into hobbies that I don't mean for them to turn into hobbies, such as like sports jerseys and just like. What made you say? What were you gonna say that for? And then like.
Couldn't tell you.
Like even like I've got like a decent amount of like Star Wars action figures back there that I started collecting, getting into. I don't know, and I just have like an obsession with technology overall. So I tend to have like a bunch of electronics that I probably don't need laying around that I will use every once in a while. But I don't know. I get into like shoes and stuff. Not anything too drastic, but. Yeah.
So you know what? Actually, I want to ask you, Chase, because again, you're kind of, I think, like the best example of someone who doesn't take the hobby to like maybe the extreme levels of spending a crap ton of money. Mm-hmm. What got you into the hobby?
Really, it was because for a long time I was using Corsair keyboards. So I was already using the mechanical keyboard. I mean, it is mechanical switches and everything. But I was using those Corsair keyboards for a long time, and then as soon as I saw the Ducky 1-2 Mini, and I saw that I could like regain like 80% of my desktop space. Like,
so it's like a layout thing then, like a form factor.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Yeah, and then from there it was like, what can I guess what's the next step past this? I mean, what's the next step past a Ducky? What's a nicer keyboard than this? Yeah, I don't know. It's never really been yeah, I don't really go after the extremely expensive stuff. I just go for what I'm happy with in front of me, I guess. I don't know.
That's such a wholesome answer.
It is too.
What's
it's like you don't even
sorry,
know
go on.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, you know, when you're that new to the community, like Salvin was saying earlier, he wasn't aware there's a keyboard community. You know, perhaps you build a PC and perhaps you purchase a mechanical keyboard at like an entry level, and then I don't know, social media has a way of making you realize, damn, I really need to upgrade because like. Literally, I don't know if it's the algorithm or what, but you'll just be on your Explore page and someone's like, you know, holding up this cinematic picture of like a really nice board, and then you're like looking at your desk, and then you're looking at the board, and then you're like,
You just see Alex's desk, like all of a sudden.
That's
like,
Alex is
yeah.
I didn't want to tag anybody in that rant, but
Well, what's really crazy is me, Alex, and Reagan all kind of started getting into this community at about the same time, but the rate at which we all kind of dove in was there is definitely there's steps between us, because there's me, and then there's Reagan, and then there's Alex up here. Alex has just gone like so hard in such a short amount of time, and a lot of that's due to the fact that, you know, he just has built this community around kind of showcasing these really cool keyboards, and I don't know, it's
So you're saying Alex is the jump in balls deep guy?
yeah, like
oh, no, he's the gateway
Yeah.
drug into spending money on mechanical keyboard related things.
And by the way,
Like
guys,
Alex-
remember, usual note: if you guys can't afford it, to buy it 3 times over, don't buy it. Usual note.
Exactly. That is true.
Oh God, me looking.
And if you really
man.
want it and you can't afford it, work for it.
Yes.
or finance it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I'm kidding, I'm just
Damn
kidding.
Americans!
I'm a capitalist. Yeah. Definitely, dude. Work for it. Work for it.
Yeah, it's
I-
it's
I put money
interesting
on-
though. It's interesting how like when I got into it too. Like I know Ruby asked what was all of our first keyboards, which I want to know what Salvin's first keyboard was. But I think mine was my first mechanical keyboard was a Gons GK87 Pro, which was I think I had MX Browns on it at the time. No, sorry, I had MX Reds on it. And it was like this cool acrylic build that was diffused so nicely. And I picked it up, and I did that thing that I always tell you guys, where I picked it up waiting for it in the mail, and then I went to go read reviews on it after I've already spent my money. I don't know. Like, it's just that, you know, like you're like you already read the review, but you want to read more reviews to justify your purchase.
You got to find like 3 good reviews after you find 1 bad review.
Yeah, like Chase said last week, you just skip the bad ones. You're like, oh, I don't want to listen to the guy who had criticism. Let me go to the good ones that are praising it 1,000 times. But I remember reading one of the bad ones, and I couldn't get this out of my mind. And this is what made me dive into like a custom. Was everyone was saying, great keyboard, can't remove the USB cable. Like, would have loved a detachable cable. And I'm like, did I just really spend $160 on something that everyone's shitting on now with this USB cable thing? And I was so sad. And I got it, and I just. You know what? You can't even see with like I would never probably remove the cable at that point in time, but I was just so fixated on that damn
like, "No, I
cable.
can't ever."
Yeah, I was like, this keyboard's scuffed. I can't do it.
This keyboard's.
Then
Imagine buying a
Mr. Space
keyboard.
Cable comes in here like, just get a removable cable. I want to sell you some.
I'm like, listen, man, can we all just cancel cabled keyboards? Like, stop cables? Like, there should be illegal.
Joke's on you, Alex. Reagan was actually the one leading the charge.
Yeah, he was the one
destroying
writing
that
all those
keyboard on that.
reviews
Yeah.
in
You
anticipation
couldn't
of space cables. But Salvin,
Yeah,
what was your
definitely.
first keyboard?
First mechanical?
Yes.
Corsair.
It was a Corsair.
That's like way.
Do you remember what switches you had? I'm guessing one of the 3
red-
being okay. Yeah,
red.
red, browns, or
Like,
blues.
like everybody, like it's like-
Browns and reds are my first.
Yeah.
yeah.
My first one was a Corsair K70, and it had reds.
What about you, chat? What's yours? If you guys say Romer G switches, though, I'll actually like be really sad. I'm joking. I won't be sad, but I'll look at you guys different. I'm joking. I won't look at you guys different. Just please don't say Romer G switches.
Reagan, was yours a Ducky?
So someone
It
asked
was.
if we would go back to Razer or Corsair.
Hell no.
I feel, you know what would be interesting though? I feel like if Corsair or I guess one of the bigger companies. I know Razer's been kind of doing it with like their newer releases, but I feel like if they released a solid, truth be told, like a hot swap product for like the general masses to kind of intro people more into like a custom keyboard world, I think that'd be pretty neat. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah,
that compete with Drop, and I think Glorious is kind of trying to dip more into that.
But Glorious is trying to dip into the, like, in our ends.
Yes, I feel like
not trying to pull off back.
Yeah,
but they make keyboards that definitely aren't for our end. Is the thing. The keyboards they make,
which are not selling. Yeah, which are not selling here.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
They're selling the Switches now, but not the boards.
But their mice are selling really well. It'd be interesting to see if they do kind of turn around and try to redesign their keyboards.
There is apparently a custom mouse scene. That is it.
There's a huge custom mouse scene. That's like another topic for another day type of scene. But I'm going to read some things. We have people saying some of their first Switches, ends, keyboards. One said Cherry Blues. Mark said Romer G switches. Mark, my dad actually had Romer Gs for a little bit. Disappointing. It's not a great Switch. But I still love you, Mark. We have Razer Clickies. We have MX Blues. A board with Kale Blues, Razer Huntsman with optical reds, N Pro 2 with browns, and a 1-2 with reds. Otemu Blues, that's an interesting first one. N Pro Royal Kludge, yeah, that's a popular one too. The Otemus are big in that kind of scene there. Yeah, a lot of interesting. Tada 68, yeah, those are some good choices, guys. Even the Romer G, good choice. Got you into this hobby. That's all that matters. MX Brown for me then moved to box whites. Ooh. My first big transition in Switch was to box jades. And that was like huge for me because I went from using like linears to even a brown, like which is basically linear, to a jade. And I was like so like, wow, this is amazing.
Box jades, it's just like a pen being clicked over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Wait, I have them right here.
Stray says MX Reds back when Corsair was exclusive RGB housings. Jades? I know, I have a whole board with jades. I love jades. Yeah, I never trust in YouTubers anymore.
And your desk, does your desk shake when you type on them?
I mean, my desk shakes as is. Literally, it's like, oh god, now I'm waiting for the legs to just go.
One day Reagan's going to be streaming and everything's going to tip over.
That would be an awesome, like, visual to see on stream.
It gets clipped and it just goes to like a technical difficulty screen.
Actually, it wouldn't be that. It would just be the three of us laughing.
I can imagine the audio still being on. You can hear like,
oh god,
like dying.
Soren, basically, I guess any first Switch in this case, like first mechanical keyboard Switch.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Switch? I mean, I've said mine 100 times. I think I'm big into like the Duroc linears, Tangerines. Those are good too. I mean, basically the same, but.
That's what Gringo said. You could use the box jades to make like arcade cabinets.
Some people do that though. They use like the clicky switches in their custom. What are those things called? Fight sticks. Yeah, he does do that. And a lot of people do that too. They make custom fight sticks or whatever those things that you use while playing Street Fighter. I think they're fight sticks, right? They're fight sticks?
I think so.
That's really cool. I didn't know there was a scene for custom. That's really cool.
That's the one thing I learned with keyboards. There's a scene for anything, right?
Yeah.
Like
if you imagine it, there's a scene for it.
Yeah, there's... And the one thing too that I like found out about the keyboard hobby, which I like genuinely really love, is there's so many nice people. Like in audio, there was nice people, like, but you'd have to go search pretty far to be honest, because like audio is like very like, you bought this audio equipment, you're an idiot type thing, or this only works with this, and my opinion's the only one that matters. Like in keyboards, is a lot more friendly people. That's like, this is the big reason why I stuck around so long in this hobby originally, and then got into it.
I hope it's gonna stay that way.
If we keep promoting it to be that way, and we keep promoting that whole thing, yeah.
There's a recent trend the past couple of months, maybe a bit longer, that a lot more people are coming in with one goal: make lots of money.
Yeah,
like on the consumer end, on like flipping and stuff.
No.
Actually, I would be hard pressed to say both.
Yeah, on both. Yeah, you could say. But I have like the feeling that it's ruining some people and parts of the community. It's dividing. It's introducing shit that shouldn't be there. Drama.
It is kind of like a big high school, like at least it is. I've said this before. It is. It's like there are vendors that are clicked up, like literally, and yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, I think my big opinion on this, and I've made a little bit of points here and there about it, but my big thing is with anything, we have to be honest with everything. You know, there are people who are going to be joining as a vendor, as a consumer who flips. Like, we understand there's always going to be that. Like, I'm not dumb, and as much as I can say, like, please don't flip, guys, there's going to be people who do it. Even people who do content creation who are literally going to be with the mindset, and this is okay. I'm personally not saying this is a bad thing, that come in the mindset with money. That's totally fine. But I think coming into the mindset with money, and then also like shutting everyone else down to make that money is a bad thing.
Yes.
And I don't mean shutting down as in like closing Salvin, you know, or closing Space Cables. I mean shutting people down as in like what they have to say doesn't matter. We are the only people here. Like, look at us. Like, we are the bigger business. We are the more premium product, whatever you want to say. Like, I think that's when it becomes like a huge problem. And I feel like it's not even about money at that point there. It's about that whole... It even in a way is kind of projecting, because it's kind of like, I am insecure that my business is not super successful. Let me project it onto everybody else.
If everyone just built instead of tore down, then I think that there's more than enough creative space and like vendor space in the community.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a lot of things that are not overlapping currently. So I don't know hopefully it stays that way. Like Salvin was saying.
Well, and I think the big thing too, and I know me and Space Cables and Chase listened to a lot of Gary Vee at the beginning of when we started a lot of things, is your success. And I think this is a huge life thing that even changed the way I think about a lot of things. Guys, with everything that you do in life, your success and someone else's success are two different things, right? So for example, if I look personally at another streamer and I see them doing really well, my first thought now is, goddamn, I'm fucking happy for them. If they're preaching negativity, that's a different thing. But if they're doing everything right, I'm fucking happy for them. Mm-hmm. You know? Even if they're streaming the exact same times I am and they're doing stuff great, dude, that's on them. Like, they're obviously have the more entertaining stream. What can I learn from them? You know, when it comes to vendors, they're doing something right. You know, what can I learn from them? And I think a lot of people take other people's success and think like jealousy, and they get a lot of that. But someone else's success should never, ever determine your own success.
No, it gets me high for sure. Like, I'm always so happy. Even competitors do. That's like, dude, that's an awesome achievement. Or like, you know,
Raider Noise is making a point. He's saying, "Oh, gatekeepers is a problem in many niche hobbies."
Yeah.
I personally feel that the word gatekeeping is overused. Tell me I'm wrong, but that's what I'm saying.
How so, Salvin?
A lot of people are using the word like, "Oh, we're getting gate capped." Well, maybe someone's just a bit more critical, or maybe someone has something to say, and then you
I can see that.
People like, "Oh, you're gatekeeping me."
I can see that. I can see.
Really?
I can see like people mistaking criticism, whether it be constructive or not, because I'm not saying that all criticism is constructive criticism, as maybe a gatekeeping thing. I can totally see that. I think what I think of gatekeeping is like, I've seen this happen firsthand, like literally live on a Discord, where someone comes into a Discord and be like, "Hey guys, I need help," and it's like, "Lol, fuck you, go use Google" type thing. Like, we're not here to help you, which is in a way kind of like, it's not welcoming at all. Like, there's nicer ways to put it, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't find it. Maybe they don't know what to search for. We have to also think of that. Like, it's not as easy as always go Google search something. So there's definitely some bits and pieces I've seen, but I totally agree, Salvin. That's a good point to be made. Thanks, Selby.
And there's another one. Do you think hobby will get big enough to get rid of group buys? I think that's a very interesting question. that I have
Yeah.
my opinion over.
So that is group. Okay, and like Salvin, you could also relate to this too. Group buys are implemented because usually the vendors in this communities are, single person entities or very small groups of people that maybe don't have access to like a large amount of capital. So it would be a humongous risk to upfront invest in a large quantity of supplies at the risk they don't all sell. So you don't achieve your margin and you're left with unsold inventory. So the concept of a group buy for the consumer is not that attractive, but it allows a vendor to purchase exact, quantities of everything and make sure that it basically protects the vendor. So, we don't over order and stuff like that. Now, something I'm starting to see a lot, like Novel Keys just did, which is awesome, is they upfront invested in all the stuff to have, say, 1,000 of those NK65s in stock and like ready without a group buy. Like that's a cool concept to me. I think desk pads, that should start happening more. Keycap sets, I think, are going to take a while because unless it's like you can really look at it and be like, this is going to sell, then that's like a really big investment to buy 1,000 keycap sets and then hope that they sell.
And I kind of wanted to interject too. Juice makes a good point too. Said even if the hobby gets big enough to abandon the group buy model, will the community still stick out in tradition? Here's my thing, and I'm going to use some of the audio hobby for this as well, because the audio hobby is huge. Everyone buys I think this isn't a common thing where people are aware of high-end headphones. People are less aware of high-end keyboards. There will always be a boutique model of something. In any community you go to, whether it be cars, whether it be playing cards, whether it be keyboards, audio, I feel like there's always boutiques. And usually boutiques are run by vendors much like we're seeing now, which is kind of the norm in most cases. And boutiques typically run on smaller quantities of everything, if not group buy models or pre-orders, where they might make their own products or have very seldom product of something else. Right, so I think ultimately, no matter how big this hobby gets, there's always going to be a boutique model of kind of where this community lies. Because in the audio community, no one's sitting there, talking about the ins and outs of their Bose $100 headphones that I got from Best Buy. No one's doing that. Let's be real. Nobody's doing that. They might do that in the review section, but no one's doing that. Right? We'll see more of that in boutique stuff for headphones, right, where you're spending a little bit more money and there's more things to customize and there's more things to discuss. So I think it's the same way for the keyboard. No matter how big the keyboard hobby gets, I think there's always going to be a boutique variation of the keyboard hobby, which is
Absolutely.
Totally fine.
Yeah, you're saying go ahead, Salvin.
Anybody who says that pre-order should go away is wrong. Very, very, very wrong.
Pre-orders or group buys?
Pre-orders. Yeah, pre-orders that group buy
Okay.
I buy a thing and I have to wait this amount of time to get it.
Okay. I think a pre-order is it's on the way.
They're very, 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 very wrong.
Okay.
Having stuff in stock like Novel Keys is doing should definitely be a thing. Yes. Things that are for sure going to sell, go for it. Having group buys and pre-orders in this community allows for creativity. It allows for people to try new things with less risk, so they will risk more to try.
That's a good way of putting it.
Nobody is going to make this off-the-wall mounting system when they have to shell out $250,000 to buy in enough stock to be able to justify the cost per board.
Oh, well, you guys don't have $250,000.
And then it doesn't sell. And then
if it doesn't sell, you're screwed over. So
I agree with you,
this
Simon.
community doing the group and the pre-orders allows for more creativity. So we should kind of try and keep
You
it,
are correct.
but also work towards having certain things in stock. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are some items that are, I would like to say, safe that you could do it with and kind of abandon the group buy factor. And that even if maybe all your inventory doesn't sell, you're not screwed, or maybe you've met your margins on that. But like Salvin's saying, and like Alex is saying too, the boutique aspect I think is going to stay around. That's just you're chasing the exclusivity. That's cool. That's what makes that particular thing you're trying to buy cool. There's only 20 of them. I had to win a raffle to get this, or this or that. But I agree though.
Well, I think it's a huge fear of a lot of people. They love this smaller community, group buys aside and stuff. They love. I say smaller, but the truth be told, this is much larger than I think it was even a year ago. Salvin can probably agree with that because he's the biggest, I guess the biggest in terms of length in this hobby out of all of us here. But I think there's always going to be room for that, and I think a lot of people are afraid. And I've gotten a lot of messages even saying like, "Do you think this hobby won't have as much like personality or anything like that in a year or two from now?" I think it's going to have more. You just kind of have to ignore looking at some of like the bigger items from bigger places. Like maybe I'm not saying to shit on Corsair or something, but if they release some sort of custom keyboard, I don't think there's going to be as much discussion about their keyboard as something like, for example, a Key Cult or something like that. I don't think so. There's probably going to be less discussion about it, right?
Yeah, it's just not a huge part of our community. It's like that. I don't know. I guess that particular level.
And FYI, guys, I am reading comments, so if you guys are writing things, maybe feeling like I'm not. It's always a little bit more difficult to read all the comments when we're doing talk shows and stuff like this, but I promise, reading every single comment as they come in. Big Brands just put gamer. I mean, I think we're going to see that eventually. How about you, Salvin? Do you think? Chase, what do you think? Actually, Chase would be the perfect. Chase would be the perfect person for this.
When are your gaming branded keyboards coming, Salvin?
Never.
RGB ever? Never?
So
I'm
reading this comment from a Riot of the Kittens, and I think it's we need to have a talk about that in a minute.
Well, let me ask Chase one question because I'm actually
sure.
I still have it fresh in my mind. Chase, from your perspective, because you have more, I guess, roots and I guess grasp in the gaming community.
Yep.
I know we kind of touched upon this last time, but do you feel, other than competitions being standardized, that some content creators, not content tech creators, but content creators games, are discussing wanting, and I know it's difficult because of sponsorships, custom keyboards?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely some. Like you said, it kind of depends on if they're just a content creator or versus if they're like a competitor. Because typically, if they're competing, especially at LAN events, they have to show up. So there's usually some regulations, like you have to show up with a keyboard and mouse that are in a sealed box, so no modifications have been made or anything like that.
Makes sense.
So they typically use off-the-shelf keyboards and stuff like that. But obviously, like your content creators, most of them, they're kind of like you, Alex. They're sitting at home with a setup that they've kind of curated to be this place for them to get their job done. So I'm sure like mechanical keyboards for specifically video game content creators are probably like custom keyboards is probably something that is leaking its way into that scene more and more.
I mean, which is a cool thing to see because, in truth be told, like, yes, I do content creation. Am I bigger than some of these gamers? Absolutely not. I'm reaching the people who are already in the hobby, and it's cool. It would be cool to see. Yeah. And it would be cool to see, like, like I think someone said Random Frank P and Tfue, like they get into it and suddenly we got a demand for cream switches. Cream switches are sold out everywhere for months. No one got cream switches. They were dubbed Tfue switches, for crying out loud. Right? So I think that's a cool way to look at it. Tofu switches. Yeah. But I want to read some comments and get into Riot of Kittens comment before we get into anything here. One of the nice things about our niche is that it's so cool and unique that it's brought to life by people like us. Huge companies aim for profit in business entirely. Keyboards and keycap designs are creations of us, accepted by us, sold by us, and bought by us. Totally agree, Katana. I think some companies definitely start with the right thing in mind. Like I think there's always a smaller company that's like, heck yeah, and then maybe they develop into something huge. But yeah, I mean, again, it's not a bad motive to want to make money, but again, if you're doing it while bringing other people down, it's definitely shitty. Which I think that the people that I surround myself with have been like a blessing, dude. They've been honestly a blessing. You guys in chat are a blessing, so thank you guys.
I also think, Alex, just because of how much you've grown over the last year and how much you've kind of dove into the scene, I think you've had more of those people you were talking about earlier that were kind of deemed as the gatekeepers. You've probably had more run-ins with those type of people than the average person really does. Like most people in chat have said they've had nothing but like pleasant experiences with people in the community. And I think that's overwhelmingly the experience for most people within the community. I think you were kind of at a disadvantage in just the amount of people that you've kind of bumped into over the last year.
It was overwhelming because like when I started, it was me posting photos on Instagram, and then suddenly I had like Reagan was like, me and Reagan were literally side by side, like talking to each other. Like I was, like I said, Reagan's 4th customer ever. and we posted a few photos, and then like I've never seen this happen, by the way. Again, guys, this was like only when I first started. It was like 20,000 likes on a photo, and it was like 1,000 followers in a few days, and another 1,000. It was like next thing you know, 10,000. I'm like, and you know, it's overwhelming for someone who's never dealt in content creation ever. And I had this like thing where I sat down, like, do I even like doing this? And yeah, I actually enjoyed keyboards and everything, so I just ran with it. And I made a note of it because I'd constantly get notes about how like, you're only building these things and taking photos because it's profiting you. And I knew in my mind, I'm like, I wasn't even streaming at the time. I'm like, where's the money? I don't.
Alex looking for money.
I'm like looking under the keyboard. I'm like, was it there? Is it Instagram? Like, did I have to withdraw it? Yeah. And I got like, yeah, and it was like totally a lot of those comments. And I'm like, oh. And even when I started streaming, like, I'll never forget. There was a few, and I'm gonna just mention them because I think it's important to talk about. I made it a point to not have sponsors. I made it a point because I want to, in a way, prove those people wrong too. That I'm literally doing this because, first of all, I have a day job that takes up the majority of my day. I'm literally doing this for fun. I build some people's keyboards here and there, you know? And it was one of those things where I started it, and I got to know cool people like Reagan, Space Cables, you know, he runs that business. Chase, he's this side, and Mr. Salvin, who's been like, honestly, it's so cool to talk to. And more recently, me and Salvin have been getting closer and closer, right? But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, there's been a few gatekeeping incidents where I've literally had like, hey guys, use this. Like, I've been in a group and it's like, hey guys, I have this discount code. If you guys want to use it, I literally don't make money off of it. But if you guys want to use it and save you guys like 10%, like by all means, it does not credit me or anything in any way. I asked the vendor not to give me a payout. And it's like, shill. Immediately shill. It's like, all right, I'm just going to shut my mouth from now on. And then another time where I wanted to join a keycap group buy, and I think I told you this the other day, Salvin, and I'm not going to say the name of the keycaps. And it was for a private group buy, and I got invited into it, and I literally got told, get the fuck out of here. We don't want people to know about our private group buy because you have an Instagram page. And I'm like, wow.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That I would
If
call
anybody's
gatekeeping.
listening, you should never, ever, ever do that.
That I would call that gatekeeping. That is like that's
That
textbook
is-
gatekeeping.
That
Yeah.
is gatekeeping.
No, I literally just left. I didn't even want to say it. I didn't want to argue. I just like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So,
Never do that.
I think that's part of the curse of having the following that you do at this point. I think that you've kind of had a run in with just a larger number of people, and so there are sadly statistically going to be a couple of bad seeds in there.
Wait.
Not bad.
Bad seeds are good.
wait, Brian's really cool, man.
Luckily for you, there's going to be a couple of bad seed texts in there.
I'm going to read Riot of Kittens' comment now because I know Salvin wants to talk about it a little bit. I think the key cap companies need to scale, and people need to bring their key set ideas to different manufacturers or makers like EPBT, JTK. InfiniKey, GMK production times are unbelievable, and if you don't scale, we need to try and entice the other manufacturers to do so. Salvin, take it away, buddy.
Okay, so without being a dick to you, the person who said the comment, Kitties, I think that comment is a typical comment from someone that is very ill-informed, that doesn't know what's going on and why things are happening.
Go on.
Like, there are many problems with sets, with certain manufacturers. That's the reason why not many sets get run there. There is issues with scaling up because it's hard. It's huge investments, and companies aren't going to be out of the blue being like, okay, here we're spending 10 million on new machines for custom keyboards.
It's a fine
That's
line, yeah.
not a thing that happens. So when people complain and like, oh, why don't you just buy more machines? Well, that's a very ill-informed thing to say.
Yeah. And again, Riot, no hate on you. These are good questions. You guys are asking good comments. Like,
Yeah,
it's good to have.
totally.
It's really good to have these conversations, guys, and get like we have 4 different perspectives here.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're single individuals and take our perspectives
you've
with a
got,
grain
like,
of salt,
Consumer content creators, vendors,
right?
slash
So
consumers.
yeah, there's 4 different things here, and I'm on the same
Yeah.
page because, for example, GMK, if you guys don't know, they make their money elsewhere. They're not like looking at their books going like, God damn, we're getting rich off keycaps. They're doing other stuff. Like we are not their main income. Like we're a side project for them. You know, they're not
So-
gonna rush out and go buy more stuff, huh?
While yes, GMK is like Salvin was saying, you know, you can't just buy more machines. I agree, you should not, as a company, overextend, and then you'll fall into that statistic of
Yeah.
how businesses, you know, fail from financial failure. Because here's the thing too: is if they way overextend, they increase their staff members, they get more machines for like injection molding, and then let's say keycap sets stop trickling in every month or something, and now, you know, your demand and
Or-
supply is out of balance. But what I do think should happen is there should be some sort of level of scaling with GMK being implemented, so we can see some sort of decline on that, because they are the most popular.
Which apparently they're doing. I've recently read their adding
Yes,
machine.
that's what I heard
They
as
are
well.
actually,
Is
but it's not a
awesome.
thing. But it's not a thing in like you turn it on. It doesn't
Yeah,
happen. Like
no,
I'm at the moment
not
in the
at
process of scaling up stuff here. So I'm in that boat of hey, I want to add a machine. I want to get a new machine to help me out, and it's not a process that you do in a week.
Exactly.
It's a very
Absolutely
lengthy
it's
process.
not.
It takes months and a hell of a lot of money.
Osiris made a good point that like in 2 months in 2020, they're selling the entirety of entire years. So based off of accounting, and basically like they should see from a growth report, like either a quarterly or monthly growth report, hey, we're doing this much sales. We've increased at 8,912% from 2017. We need to take some of this budget. Well, it sounds like they already have, so that's
yeah,
awesome.
but is that a fluke? If you're in the shoes of GMK and you're not in this community and you look at those numbers, is that a fluke? Is something
Oh, I
weird
see what you
happening here?
mean.
Is this gonna recur every year? Because that's
I would-
the boat I
Exactly,
was in
yes.
when I wanted
But-
to quit, when I was like, am I gonna quit my job and do this full
Me
time?
too. I asked myself the same question.
I was like, I got orders in, and I was like, is this a one-time thing, or is this gonna keep coming back? Because then I'm quitting my job. But if this is a one-time thing and I quit my job, I'm
You're
screwed.
fu- yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they have enough
Yeah.
historical data by now, and the fact that the community is growing, the complaints are extremely public, you know, this and that. I mean, look, GMK is great. They're doing great. I just think once they scale a little bit more, like it's very, very like, I think everyone's aware how much the community is growing and how much these sales, I can almost confidently use the word guaranteed, will increase at a monthly rate. I mean, what is there, like one set to every like 10 GMK sets for IC these days, I feel like?
Something crazy like that. But I also want to bring up one point too, guys. I think one big thing that's probably also stressing out everybody that we're neglecting to mention is we have a global pandemic running.
Yep.
That also
Yeah.
will probably be affecting a whole bunch of stuff.
And
So-
okay, I would say though, as a vendor in the community,
thank you, dude.
I was personally fearful of how the pandemic was going to affect commerce, right? I feel like that's a pretty reasonable fear to have. Like a lot of businesses, you know, completely failed. I think that what happened was everyone was at home, and I don't know. I feel as though commerce was up. I mean,
Totally. I think
did
for our
really
hobby it was up.
affected by
Yeah.
COVID, so I'm, you know, very.
But some manufacturers did. For example, some manufacturers, and I know this because I work in a manufacturing industry as well. Some manufacturers literally had to cut employees from being at work because of limitations that the government's putting in place of how many people can be in one area at a time. So which can
Totally.
affect some production rate too. So we can't always forget about that. I know mailing, it has been really partially affected by that. If you guys remember USPS, what was it, a month
Yeah.
ago? Was
Shipping
really
costs
hit
are
hard.
still high.
Yep, shipping costs are really high, which I think we're starting to see now as consumers in some products, not in the keyboard hobby exactly, but we're starting to see that reflect in some other products. Because, for example, DHL rates internationally are still tough to swallow. Even
Surge
some
pricing.
surge pricing is still tough to swallow too. So there's a lot. Like when we were talking about this stuff too, guys, and this is why I think it's so important to have these conversations. There's so many levels of things. You know, like that we're not maybe always thinking about. Like Salvin's
So many
brought to
layers,
light,
yeah.
We're like, oh god, I was gonna make a Shrek joke, but I think everyone would leave this chat. Look, Chase is already shaking his head. He's like, why do I do this with you guys?
You
It's
should
like-
have just made the
it's-
Shrek joke instead of pointing that you were gonna make a Shrek joke.
I stopped myself because I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to do
Get out
it.
of my swamp.
Get out of my swamp, dude.
Imagine people ramping up inventory and machinery and hiring new people because like, oh, people are at home because of COVID and they're buying more stuff, and then next year when this whole COVID thing is over, that
we don't
happens.
we don't know though. It could
Big
be.
tax. You don't know, but
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
says it won't?
Yeah. That's what I'm
Right
saying. We don't
now,
know.
The bubble will pop.
We
Yeah.
have a foreign variable that could possibly be the big thing affecting vendor sales right now, right? So it's like if you overextend yourself now based on 6 months of historical data, just to find out that in the next 2 quarters your percentages drop and you've scaled too much and you've overextended, then yeah, that's bye-bye.
The only person that'll be fine if it ends up tanking is Clavier, because he only carries like 3 or 4 things in his basket anyways.
He only has his bike to pay for.
Clavier,
You mean my new roommate?
Clavier sitting in his chair right now, just shaking.
Yeah.
God
He's,
damn it, you guys, why are you doing this to me?
Moving in with me, and I told him he could have a shelf in my fridge.
For his food or for him?
No, like this pillow is right here, and this one's mine. We're kidding.
He's looking at his bike right now, just like punching it in the air, just like stupid bike.
It's definitely something to be concerned about and to really think about. That's again, it's the boat I'm in right now, and it's like making decisions like, what am I gonna do, and what if shit hits the fan? Can I still survive?
Yeah, like it's a thing for even content creators too, because like for, I'm not full time, but if I was to switch to full time, and I know people want me to switch to full time, guys, if we all get bored of this next year, and then I'm left with like no job
Exactly.
and 10 people watching, and like at the end of the day, if I have to rely on Twitch subs and content creation money from like ads and stuff, if I don't have that viewership, that's it for entertainment, right? Like that's all. That's why, like, at the end of the day, I'm keeping this as like a hobby / something to do with, light content creation rather than a full-time job. Because I don't know. And I'm in the same boat. I agree with Salvin. We don't know after COVID lifts if this will be a thing.
I honestly, I think it's a valid concern, but I personally think at the rate that influencers are showcasing our community and these big gamers are like getting into the Met community and retweeting this and sharing that, and I don't know, I just think that the rate of growth is going to defeat the rate of loss. I just think that it is past
What do you
that
think,
on a graph
Chase?
somewhere.
From like, I guess your perspective not being in content creation, or I mean, technically you are though, Chase, because you're the one who thought of the show. So you are now a content creator. You played yourself.
Well, no, I think what we're at the end of the day we're talking about is just risk assessment and like understanding like do I take this, like we're talking about just expanding on your business further or building upon what you already have further, or just kind of hunkering down and working with what you have and kind of fear that things may not be or continually grow through next year. I don't know. I feel like I feel like in business sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes you do.
You definitely do. You
and-
absolutely have to.
And this is I feel like we're talking about risk in scaling is a pretty big risk to take, but I do feel like, I mean, also eventually you either take the risk and scale or you stay a small business forever.
And someone else takes
you
that risk.
don't want to
Yeah.
get caught in analysis paralysis of like, oh, what do I do? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do? What you need to do is talk to people that are smarter than you in that subject. Maybe get a mentor, like get some advice, and then make a decision. And if it fails, it fails. Like Salvin says, fail fast, and then learn from it. And if it doesn't kill you, then get back up and continue doing what you're doing. You just don't want to die 100%.
What Salvin is actually saying is just never make the machine not go burr. All right, it always has to stay
The
burring.
machine is going burr right now.
Yeah, see? The moment
She's
it
always
doesn't
doing
burr. The
Yeah,
moment
when it doesn't do
burr.
burr, my stomach hurts.
Also, the original comment we were talking about, the one that was addressing GMK and all these other keycap manufacturers, I do think that something we didn't address from that comment is supporting those other manufacturers, like Infinity and like all these PBT sets we see coming out. I mean, I've been really happy with a lot of these keycap sets that have been coming out that aren't GMK sets. And I really, really hope we get to see a lot more of them in the near future. I hope people really start buying into them.
So I agree, and there's some points of that too, where it's like there's some keycap manufacturers who are releasing stuff, and I get it. Like there could be that whole thing where it's like, well, they're just here to make money, which again, I I don't hate on people for wanting to make a living, you know. But
No, you
there's
shouldn't.
there's
That's not a thing that
no,
people should do.
totally
It shouldn't be your focal point,
No.
but you should be able to be rewarded for
making a good product. But I feel like
Yeah.
there are some keycap sets which are clearly better than others. And I do agree, like there needs to be, and I feel like, here's my honest opinion. I feel like when not us here, but like other people, when they start discussions about, for example, a keycap set, it's like focus and just shit on negative things. And it's like, it's like, okay, well, we're saying that, but can we not be like so vile? And like, there's some people I've seen comments where it's just like, this is shit. Like, this is shit. Like, I would never buy this again. It's like, okay, let's put our things in one thread and then go from there type thing.
Yeah,
Like, there
sorry you're
doesn't,
having a bad day.
yeah, like there doesn't need to
Didn't it
be.
happen recently with the GMK space bars that were.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone was just like losing their minds. But like again,
And
it
then you
happens.
go, and then you go back to sets of more than a year old, and like it's just exactly the same. It didn't change.
Yeah. So it's just like I think everyone jumps to be super negative, and I think even with me, like I do this a ton, guys. Even outside the keyboard hobby, like Reagan knows, Chase knows. There's things I get super passionate and heated about. Right? Super passionate and heated about. But like at the end of the day, like I have a quick cooldown period for me. Like I'll cool down like 30 minutes an hour. But there's some people I know, and you can't. This is not me criticizing you at all for being that type of people, but there's some people who stay upset. But I feel like there needs to be constructive criticism, not just criticism. You know, and I'm not saying you need to solve their problems, but do it constructively, right?
I think that if you're going to criticize someone, that you should criticize it with like an alternative, and then maybe be neutral or nice about it. Like if you don't like a keycap set, explain your purpose, do this. But like I saw a keycap set earlier where someone commented and was like, "This is fucking cringe," and that was their only comment to the keycap set.
Yeah, like
And,
that,
like-
that. You can dislike a set, like, and I think Chewy from Mechs on Deck said this the best. You can dislike a set, right? You're allowed to. You're allowed to dislike it, but there's no need for those type of comments.
No, I would like to say that for the most part, everyone's adults or everyone's mature enough to be aware of their actions.
Yeah. Like if you don't like colors that someone picked, you don't like a design someone picked, it's fine to not like it. It's fine to not show your support there. But to just go off on like hateful tantrums is just
Oh,
kinda
makes a
silly.
man feel bad who's putting up the interest check, who's like already insecure.
Yeah, like I think a constructive way to do that, like if for example, if the interest check was maybe not good, or if it is like, I'm not going to use the word lazy. Well, I'll use the word lazy. Like if it was a lazy interest check, or just it didn't look good, and there could be better parts of it without having it be more of an opinion, like logistical better parts of something. For example, kitting. I feel like that should be said constructively. But if you're just going to say kitting shit, because I've seen that as well, it's just like, well, explain. And I know maybe you're not a teacher, so maybe don't make a comment at all, right? But again, and I'll say this with everything. If a product is released and no one buys it, consumers are speaking with their wallet, right? So what are your thoughts about someone who's willing to take the risk to provide in-stock product and willing to risk his finances to improve the community and make money at the same time? I think that's interesting that you say that, but I think improve would be the kind of like the quote thing there. I don't know if it's generally improving anything. For example, if we're fronting money for, I'm going to use alpacas for an example, which is a popular Switch. Alpacas can't really be, from our level here, can't be really fucked up. You can't really fuck up an alpaca. You're providing a product that's obviously everyone's needs. So if you're fronting the money for 1 million alpaca Switches, I think you're cool. I think that's awesome. I think that's helping. If we're fronting the money for a keyboard,
100,000, then say NK65.
yeah.
Cheap
But it,
boards that everybody's gonna buy,
Yeah.
that people that are starting in the hobby need, and that always go out of stock.
But if we're fronting
That
money
is
for, yeah, and I agree with that, like NK65 being an entry-level board, right? If we're fronting money for an expensive product, whether it be a keyboard, whether it be some sort of, I don't know, like new cabling system, I'm just going to make something up here. It might not be, Reagan's like, it might not be the best thing to do because we don't know a lot of things about that product, right? So I don't know if that's necessarily always being a good thing. My thing is, I think you should do something once or twice, and if it does really well, then you can invest the money.
And I'm also like, to add on to that, I don't think saying, "Oh, we're doing it in stock" should be a reason to charge more.
Yep.
that shouldn't be a reason. You doing it in stock should be like a reason for people to come to you and buy from you.
Marketing
Yeah,
strategy.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But it should not be a reason that you're like, oh, now I'm charging double.
Yeah.
That's another reason. That's to give Novel Keys even more credit. That's
Yes.
the prices on their NK65 cases, or they were fantastic for an in-stock item too. It was insane.
Yeah. But they used their power to buy a lot of them to drive the price down, and they didn't keep that profit in their pocket. They drove the price down for you to buy.
Yep.
That
Mhm.
is amazing. That's
Yeah.
a good company.
So when the comment said improve the community, I don't think it necessarily I don't think it improves the community. I think it improves a certain aspect of the consumer's experience with your company.
Yeah.
That's
Community, I feel, is like a much different thing than maybe a customer-consumer interaction. Like, getting something now is always a nice feeling. Don't get me wrong. I love getting things right away. I think we all have that Amazon Prime fixture in our head, that mindset of getting something within the first, 24 hours in some cases for Amazon. What is that necessarily a community aspect? I'm not too sure.
Well, yeah, because then you look at what we have, and I would say a good part of something cool about the community is when you see somebody's keyboard built, say on Reddit or on Instagram, that has this keycap set that they waited 7 months for. Like, they're proud of that keyboard and everything that's on it, and everybody else knows that they waited for that keycap set. Like, there's just something, I don't know, knowing that these people had to wait such a long time for the product too, and put all this together. I don't know. That's kind of a weird aspect of the community as well.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah, well, and everybody understands it. So when they see somebody else that's accomplished this build of, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a weird part of the community, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm reading all the comments and stuff, guys. There's a lot of comments going through. I don't know if we have time to read all of them, to be honest, but I'm reading every single one, guys. There's been some really good discussion tonight.
We do have to let Salvin go to bed at some point.
Yeah.
Anything in stock should be items that have been proven, tested, and shown that can be delivered before you ever go, hey, we're going to do it in stock.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and we're starting to see that more and more with some more regular items. I know switches and stabilizers have been getting better. I mean, there's still parts, in Canada at least, there's still times where it's so hard to find parts. There's still really, really tough things like lubricant. Lubricant, we went kind of through a lull for a little bit too, which sucked. And that's why, like, if you guys remember, I was scraping through lubricant. I'm like, God, why didn't I buy more?
I mean, PCBs were hard to find for a bit.
Dude, they're still hard to find. Hot swap PCBs are still they're hard to get.
Yep.
Like,
Just wait.
Like, they were still tough. Like, I just couldn't find any for a little while. But yeah, even tofus for a little while went sold out there. The acrylic tofus.
That's just the downside of the community exploding,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. I know it sucks that stuff goes out of stock, but at the end of the day, for everybody here, it is a great thing, because that means that MOQs will go up, quantities will go up, prices will come down.
Yep.
If you support the right people, prices will go down, more stuff will be made, more creativity will flow in, more people will try new things and will like find us like, oh, this is pretty cool, and we never wanted to try this, but now there's so many people that we were able to try this and ended
New
up being really
innovations.
cool.
Oh
Yeah, so it's good at the end of the day.
And if we're lucky, we will eventually get to some in-stock items.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, we'll get there, guys. Like, we're gonna get there. And I know, like, and I don't want to say anything about certain products or anything. Like desk pads, I know, some people might be doing some in-stock desk pads soon.
Who?
I don't know.
Look at it from this perspective, right? Stuff selling out instantly means that the vendor is doing well and can keep buying new things for people to enjoy.
Yep.
If the vendor has, like, let's say Novel Keys buys those NK65s and sits on them for 6 months, that means that is money that's tied up for 6 months that he can't do something else with.
Yeah, overhead costs are sometimes a bitch, honestly.
Well, and I'm sure for Salvin and for Reagan, I'm sure anytime you guys see something in the community selling out, I'm sure that makes you guys so excited, because that means the community is
Yeah,
still thriving.
so
It's
happy
moving
for other
forward. Yeah, those sellouts have to make
it drives you forward too. Like if we see stuff sitting in stock, I'm not gonna buy a new machine because
Yep.
I know it's gonna go down.
I think
So
I
there's
think
no
one thing
reason-
I actually want to touch on one thing though. With that being said, with the I guess the idea of in stock kind of being a looming idea that might happen with a lot more products, I want to bring up a point of panic buying. Fear of missing out, FOMO. For example, if a vendor brings in, they know that they had an X amount of Switch sell in 4 seconds, and they bring in 10 times the amount next time, and it sells out in 3 minutes. Because I think some people, and I've done this too, once in a blue moon, I do this by accident because I'm scared too because I kind of like, fuck, I could use this in the future. I'll buy maybe 2 times the amount that I should buy. Like, that I need. Is it a bad thing? Am I saying you guys can't do it? No. But I think there's also that note with some people as well. Like, again, I'm guilty of it too. I think it's a very human thing to do, to be like, fuck, that sold out in 3 seconds last time. I'll pick up a few more this time.
Yeah.
So there is that
how you
too.
can check? You know what you can do to check that is aftermarket. I know everybody hates the aftermarket, but as long as the aftermarket stays up high, we know there is demand.
Yes.
And that's past the FOMO. That's like people like, I really want this.
So Shadow, extras aren't always the same price. I know keyboards, for example, and GMK sets are usually a bit more extra. Like, they have extra pricing on top of.
Yeah.
Oh, Geeks on Panic said it too. Yeah, exactly.
For what? Sorry.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
Oh,
basically
the
Market
Mech Market
Barometer.
Barometer. Yeah.
Yes.
And
When
that's why you also
vendors-
see. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say that's why you also will see like a lot of second runs of keycap sets that are typically the ones that are selling for $500-$600 a set on Mech Market.
Striker.
Laser
Tofu.
was a
Game
big one.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy Striker. I saw it the other day, and I saw it for $450, and I was like, oh.
So
Why are extras
Big
marked
Chili asked, why are extras marked up? And that's typically because the consumers who are committing to that 6-month group buy, that 6-month wait, are getting it at a discounted
Yeah,
rate.
yeah.
And if you missed that window that you had to buy it in, that was so heavily announced on probably every platform, then you are either going to be stuck getting it on the extras phase, which is definitely going to be, I don't know, on average, I'd say a 10 to 15% increase, or on the next phase, which is aftermarket. And that's probably even later down the line, and it's going to be 200% the cost and not
Yeah.
10% increase.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough, and like I guess the takeaway from a lot of this, guys, is there's so many good things happening at the same time. Like, I know sometimes it feels really crappy because a newcomer will come in and be like, "Fuck, everything's sold out." I know it's this weird learning phase of what to expect from the keyboard hobby, from our hobby right now. But I don't, like, trust me when I tell you guys, out of all the vendors I've spoken to, the majority of them anyways, that I've actually had like face-to-face conversations with, like Space Cables and Salvin being some of them, they're not going like, yes, we're keeping everything really low because it's profitable for us. Like, no one's saying that, no one's going like, no, Salvin isn't running his keyboards to Mech Market the next day on like an alt account being like, yes, I can't wait to profit $850 on like no one's really doing that. No one's doing that.
It would be pretty obvious.
Yeah, it'd be
It would
super
pretty
obvious. Like, they want to see this expand and have people get their products as soon as possible as well. But like, there's steps. This hobby's taught me how to save. Yeah. The tie-dye shirt is a cute guy. I know. He is kind of cute, huh? Chase is just sitting there laughing. So let me read some comments before we wrap up here, guys. I've caught myself doing it. I bought banana milkshake switches just in case they become a big thing, even though I already have a good stable. I mean, I do the same thing. I'm like, fuck, what if I want to use this switch in the future? Let me buy a set of something. I have switches sitting there that I still haven't used. Our extra is the same price. Oh, we already read that one there. You can look at Silicon Valley, for example. Smaller vendors and companies would have a great product, but would be bought out by the big boys and either force you into an ecosystem or keep the brand. I think we're a little different from that. I don't think there's like an ecosystem with keyboards, but I totally know what you mean. I get the concept of like being bought out, right? I totally get that. By the way, NVI, thank you so much for the tier 3 sub, man.
There also doesn't seem to be like that big guy who would do the buying out in this scene.
Yeah, not yet. Anyways, you never know.
Yeah, not
maybe
yet.
maybe Logitech comes out and be like, "You remember those Herman Miller chairs? We're ready to buy the key cults." Conviction says, I'm relatively new to this hobby and I have a question about IPs and keycap sets. Where does the line get drawn about IPs? Very good question. In keycap sets. Where does the line, GMK Deku, GMK Hero, or other shows, anime, video games that see as inspiration from IPs that companies own, ? So, to kind of say something about that, we've already seen it happen with Blackpink. What was it called? Blink? We've already seen...
GMK got more strict.
Yeah, we've already
GMK
seen
got more
that.
strict.
For example, another big thing that I've seen in, rest in peace, Blink, I've seen in shirts. When you do shirts or any sort of printing, a lot of printing companies, if you even have like a hint of any big brands, they will refuse the work.
They're not trying to get sued.
They're not trying to get in trouble, right? Like, what's another set recent? Like Islander, there was GMK. What was the one based off of? Sorry.
White Wolf, didn't that one have some?
White Wolf.
White Wolf had some issues too. Yeah.
Used by GMK.
Yeah.
GMK
So
actually went on now, like, yep, nope, we're not running this.
yeah. So like stuff like that. Like, there's a fine line in art when it comes to referencing other things. Fan art is one thing. Clearly using badges, for example, like the White Wolf one had, I believe, a bunch of symbols from the video game. You know, even a minor alteration can be considered, direct. But again, likeness is, yeah. We're going to start seeing that more and more. I guarantee you. We're going to start seeing more things get refused. So, and I've even had it recently without naming names where I've had someone DM me and go, Alex, what do you think of this desk pad or this piece of art that I did? And I go and then I take a screenshot of it. And then I take a screenshot and take a picture of the part that's really, really well done. And then they run it through reverse image search. And it's not even their work. It's with someone else. They bought a stock. And it's like, first of all, we don't know if that was purchased. Like, I have no license in front of me. Like, usually when you present something that's been used in license, you send the license with it.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's like we're starting to see that more and more. Where someone has
2 weeks ago.
Go on.
Like a Sunday when you and I were in a call and we were designing some desk pads. And I'm like purchasing commercial fonts, do that.
Fonts is another big thing. We're gonna start seeing that too. Even when I made Aether, like I looked at fonts that either I purchased a commercial license for, or fonts that were free to use commercially. Like there's a lot of little things you have to look into. Some GMK Blink never got shipped. No, it got canceled completely. I don't even think it made it to its final 2 weeks of group buy. So
no, they had to refund everyone and close the group buy.
Yeah, but we're gonna start seeing it. We're gonna start seeing it more and more as the keyboard hobby grows. Like for example, a lot of anime stuff. It's a shit ton of anime stuff that we see in the keyboard hobby, and I think that stuff's slowly gonna be dusted off. But guys, I know we actually ran this way longer than we normally do this. But I don't know. Do we want to wrap it up, Chase?
I would like to say that I got Salvin's keycap stuck to a box jade, and I can't get it off. I can't get it off.
You can't get it out.
That's a tough switch, too.
Only to tip it just for a minute, and now you're stuck.
Yeah.
Maz, I don't know about that one there in particular. You'd probably have to reach out to TKC directly about that. About shipments for that. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Unless it was like part of a group buy, usually you have to wait. If it was part of the extra sales, then you'd have to go check with them. Hopefully it's metal. Yeah, Salvin's keycaps are metal. But guys, it's honestly been a pleasure. Chase, did you want to sign us off here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much, Salvin, for giving us almost 2 hours of your life.
2 hours. They will never get back.
2 hours of sleep that you're missing out on now.
Yeah. It's fine.
Thank you guys for attending stream.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for being here. It's awesome.
It's been real. It has been interesting.
And thank you guys for being open-minded tonight, listening to what we had to say, listening to us learning as well from Salvin. I know I learned a lot today. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for the subs, the bits. It all helps support the stream. It'll go right back into everything we do here. Appreciate it. Streaking Bison for the 100 bits. We had Box donate some money before. Thank you, Box, Zoo, Alchemaic, and everyone else who helping support the stream. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This will be up on YouTube within the next week, as well as some other streaming platforms. So thank you guys again for tuning in. We're going to take off now. I'm going to go play some video games before I have to go to bed and work tomorrow morning. Probably clean up a bit more. I built that Austin today, which turned out amazing.
In 2 hours?
I mean, you in 2 hours. It's only 10 o'clock here. Salvin has to get up in 2 hours, so look what we did. We were like, we're going to keep it for 15 minutes or something, and then an hour and 50 minutes later. So much love and best of success, Katana. Thank you, man. You guys, check out Katana if you guys haven't. Thanks, everyone. Honestly, guys, thank you. Salvin, did you have any last words? Sounds like I'm going to kill you or something. After this, he's being executed.
Be cool, stay cool, be awesome. That's what I'm going to say.
All right, guys.
Don't be a dick to anybody.
There you go. Everyone, thank you. Have a good night. I will see some of you guys in Discord for a quick discussion. If you guys want to join in on the Discord, we'll say hi to each other. So I will talk to you guys then. Take care, guys. Much love. Appreciate you guys.